So this is a movie that came out in 2024, set in 2003, but feels like it was made in 1982? Hello everyone, I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, and welcome to Popcorn and Soda, the show where we discuss all things movies, pop culture, and so much more. On today's show, we're going to be discussing the latest film from Sony's very own Spider-Man cinematic universe. Still a thing, I guess. Madam Web, starring Dakota Johnson. Yeah. Hey, I'll start with this. We'll get into everything. Believe me, we will get into everything. But I'll start with this. Not as bad as everyone is making it out to be. There were some redeeming qualities about Madam Web that I really enjoyed. And we'll get into that. So what is Madam Web all about? Madam Web is all about the character of Cassandra Webb, who goes by Cassie, in which she's living her life in 2003 New York as a paramedic who had a mother who she didn't really have a relationship with because she was a foster child her whole life. Her mother was someone who was investigating spiders in the Amazon, as the trailer, of course, let us know. And yeah. And this movie follows a story about Cassie, who is slowly starting to develop certain powers, I guess, in which she can see premonitions of the future. And as the movie goes along, she starts noticing more and more, especially with this mystery bad man named Ezekiel Sims, who is chasing after people in her life. And she indirectly becomes involved with three teenagers who are part of Ezekiel Sims' plan. Spoiler alert, who he's trying to kill. So he finds them in any way that he can, using technology far above what 2003 probably even had, but probably not, who knows. And yeah, the whole movie is about Cassandra looking out and finding these three girls and protecting them, using her premonitions and looking to get control of her premonitions to know what's gonna happen next. Mouthful, I know I said a lot there, but realistically, it's just someone who has the power to tell the future, and she's trying to help save those three girls from being killed by Ezekiel Sims, who happened to be someone who knew Cassandra's mother while she was pregnant with Cassandra and was responsible for, spoiler alert, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, her death. Yeah, this movie. So listen, I always say this with all my reviews. Movies are in the art form that are like none other, because it's all subjective at the end of the day, right? Something that you like, I may not, and something that I like, you may not, and that's perfectly okay as long as you're valid and true to your own criticism and what you felt about the movie. I think that is perfectly, fine, whether you liked it or not. So for me, I go all based on emotion. And when I was watching this movie, I had a smile on my face the whole time for the right and the wrong reasons, because I read so much about this film going into it that I'm like, I'm just going to go in and just watch it for what it is. And this movie at times boggles my mind that Sony probably spent like $100 million plus on a film like this, because this has some of the worst dialogue I've seen in a movie. And it has some of the worst just ADR I've probably ever seen in any movie. Just additional soundtrack, recording, everything after the movie. There are scenes in which Ezekiel Sims, the main bad guy of the movie, is speaking, and you don't even see his mouth move. And you can just hear that the voice was just kind of thrown in there. And I've never in my life seen a movie where I was able to pick that up. Where I'm watching this movie and I'm like, wait, is this just me, or is this like something wrong with the audio and the projectionist or the theater? But I saw it 3-4 times in the movie, and I was just like, how did this pass through the 10 layers of quality control that Sony probably has before a movie even gets released. Mind blowing. Dakota Johnson, let's talk about her. I think Dakota Johnson's a great actress. I think she really is. But this movie shows that even a good actress cannot save a film if it's got a bad script and bad dialogue, because there's times it almost felt like she was phoning it in, which I doubt, but at the same time, it just felt so wooden, and you didn't even care for the character of Cassie because there was no emotion. She's like playing this hard ass who's reclusive and trying to, live her own life as this person who doesn't like being around people. Her character was so wooden and flat that I was just like, what's going on here? This is Dakota Johnson. She's a great actress, but again, the script just failed her and it failed everyone in the movie. I've truly felt that. And it's directed by S.J. Clarkson. And again, I personally haven't seen any of her previous films, but as someone who's just watching a film, it's not easy being at the helm of production of this size, right? So SJ probably did her absolute best to make this the best version of the film that she can, that the producers had in mind. So I think a lot of people should be getting, talked to about this film, but I don't think SJ is, because for someone who, was probably their big, first big mega studio picture, right? Like, you got to cut them some slack and give them the right to fail if that happens. Because there are scenes in the movie that I like, and this is what I go back to. Like, I may be one of the few people that I know that actually liked certain scenes in this film. And just 3-4 of them pop up. Like, there's this scene with Britney Spears' Toxic that's playing. I get it. It's cringe at some points and it's campy AF. But I kind of I dug it. It was kind of quirky and funny because I'm from that era. I grew up. I was in elementary school in 2003. And I remember that song. It was cringe, but it was kind of a cool scene. It shows her thinking about her premonition and seeing the future and something that's about to happen. And I really like those scenes. And that's the second thing I liked. I liked some of those premonition scenes where she sees things, a minute or two in advance, and they captured it in a very cool artsy way. I like that. I really did. There are some of those scenes that I really enjoyed. And third, I really enjoyed Adam Scott. He plays Ben Parker, of course, good old Uncle Ben. I thought he had a lot of charm, and he brought a lot of really cool just character moments with him and Cassie, who are friends as paramedics. So I guess that was the big Spider-Man tie-in where Uncle Ben is in the movie, and at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, once again, in 3, 2, 1, they show the birth of Peter Parker. So I guess that's all tied in together. But besides that, this movie was not a good movie in the sense of how it made me feel. And you guys know me, all my reviews are largely based on how I felt watching the movie. In many ways, I did enjoy some scenes of the movies, but in other ways, I don't know how a film like this could have been made. Because I think it's wrong to push a film like this. I don't know if it was rushed. I don't know if anything else happened behind the scenes, but there's too many creatives involved in this. Like Sydney Sweeney, who is on her way of becoming a superstar, if she's not already one, which, with Anything But You and Euphoria, she's great. And she's great in the movie alongside with the other two castmates as well of hers. And there's some really cool scenes where they're showing futuristic views of them in their spider suits and all that. The entire girls, Cassie. And if you know what happens in the Madam Web comics and everything, is Cassie becomes blind and she ends up mentoring a lot of different folks. In the movie, it pretty much sets up that she will be mentoring these 3 girls who are all tied together, of course, in one way, shape, or form, as we find out throughout the movie, into Spider-Woman. Cool shots with all 4 of them. There's a really cool shot near the end where it's a premonition scene again, which I thought was cool. I'm all for hero shots. But then there's other scenes where it feels like the CW superhero suits, and I'm like, wait, what? What's going on here? So overall, I think it's so. I think this movie hurts, and it may be the final nail in the coffin for the Spider-Man universe that Sony is creating with all like of their own characters minus Spider-Man, which is unfortunate because Venom's a good character, but then Morbius, Craven's coming out, which I'm excited for, and Aaron Taylor Johnson. But when a movie flops this hard, which it did at the box office, it hurts everyone. It really does, because now you're going to see less obscure comic book heroes get a shot, because unless it's Marvel or maybe even DC with their new slate, they know that people don't want to watch a film like this with characters that people aren't really familiar with. But it would have helped if the movie had good script, the movie had good filming, and if Dakota Johnson, who I really think is a great actress and many other millions worldwide do as well, I think she was put in a situation where she couldn't even succeed because everything that was given to her was just. So again, you guys know me. Is this a movie you watch in the theaters? Is this a movie you watch at home? Or is this a streaming movie you kind of flip on whenever it's on? I don't recommend watching this in the movie theater with the cost of movies nowadays. Skip it. Don't watch it in a theater. I would say this is almost like a rainy day movie. You're not going to miss out on anything if you don't watch Madam Web. It's corny, it's cheesy, it's campy, and hey, I enjoyed a lot of those things about this movie. I really did. Because I'm from a generation where I kind of I sit back and I watch it. I don't go in with a critical eye and pinpoint everything. I had a smile on my face for some scenes. But even I can't defend what this movie was by the end. It was so cheesy that how is a movie like this allowed to be made in this day with everything that we have at our disposal? But hey, if you're excited for Madam Web, or if you had a chance to see it, please do comment below and share your thoughts on the film, because I'd love to hear what you thought. Who knows, maybe some of you actually enjoyed it as much as I did in terms of certain scenes, but I know most people just didn't have that good time at this film. So there you have it, guys. That is my review of Madam Web.